Hey cute people, I am winding down on my video every day in August. I have to say I did encounter a problem last night, but I'll talk about that some other time. But I'm going to keep it moving because today is the 27th, so that means I have 4 more to go to complete the whole month. Yay for me. I remember earlier on asking if you had any questions or wanted me to talk about anything particular, just ask. And if I could, I would do it. Well, someone asked me if I would do a video on the pros and cons of living in New York. And I thought that'd be great, so I said yes. And I hope this is a video that you would like. I'm going to keep it as PG as possible, which I normally do, but we'll see how well I do with refraining from saying things I need not be saying. But I want to start with the pros. Well, first let me say this much. I am born and bred right here in New York City. I have lived in 4 boroughs. The only borough I have not lived in is Staten Island. I won't say never because I thought I'd never live in the Bronx, and I do now, and I don't like it. Out of all the places that I've lived, if I could go back to one area, what would it be? Harlem. Yes, for sure. So if you don't live in New York and you come in to visit, you have got to visit the little village called Harlem. You will love it. It's been through a lot and going through so many changes, but you'll love it. So I'm going to start with the pros of living in New York. I don't have anything written down, so this is coming off the top of the dome, and because I love my city, it will be no problem at all. The first thing I want to say is definitely a pro about living here as opposed to some other places that travel. Travel is definitely not a problem at all, I'm telling you. There's a bus or a train that will take you anywhere, upstate, Long Island, wherever you want to go. When I lived in Harlem, I'm telling you, I can just hop on the bus and I'll be downtown Manhattan. I can go shopping. You got 42nd Street, 82nd Street. You have so many different areas that you can shop in. You don't even have to stay in Manhattan to shop. You can go to Brooklyn, Fulton Street, which I'm not sure what Fulton Street might look like these days, but you can go to King's Plaza, which I'm not sure what that may look like. You have Atlantic Mall. It may be called something different, but I know it's downtown Brooklyn, like over by Atlantic Avenue. I've been there several times, but I can't think of what you call it. But as far as traveling, no problem. Bus or train to take you anywhere. You know there's airports. We have LaGuardia, which is New Jersey. I'm sorry. I meant to say Newark, which is New Jersey, but then there's LaGuardia and there's Kennedy. And it doesn't take you like hours to get there. You hop on a bus or a train and you are there. Anywhere you want to go within the 5 boroughs, you definitely can get there. I'm going to say most places within an hour and a half. Most places on public transportation within an hour and a half. Unless there's just no train to get you there. You have to take several different buses. But I love the fact that you can wake up at any given time to go anywhere within these 5 boroughs, and you can get there without too much hassle, as long as the trains and things are running. We have the Long Island Railroad that'll take you out to Long Island. Now, like I said, you can go upstate, you can catch the bus, probably at Port Authority, maybe other locations if you like. It's just, you have cabs. You have yellow cabs in New York City. You can, depending on where you are, you may not have that much of a problem catching a cab. But travel here in New York City, no problem. I think that's definitely a pro. Another pro about New York is that every major country you could think of, we have a little town here where you can go to restaurants, sometimes see cultural events. You can see cultural events anywhere, but when I say country or maybe island, you know, like where I live here in the northern part of the Bronx. But before I moved here, everybody was saying, oh, you moved to Little Jamaica, which if you come here, you'll see what I mean. This is definitely a Jamaican culture. I'll say West Indian because there's probably other cultures here also. But you have Chinatown that you know. You have Little Italy, Spanish Harlem, definitely different areas where African Americans live, like Harlem, which you have a whole bunch of other people who live there too. You just can go anywhere within these 5 boroughs and if you know where you're going, you can just step into a whole other town. Some places in Queens, I'm not sure if it's Jackson Heights, you have Little India, I'm sure you Little Mexico, whatever you're looking for, you definitely can find it. And that leads me to my next thing, which is a definite pro. Food. I mean, restaurants here are abundant. You can get fast food, McDonald's, Burger King, IHOP, all those restaurants. And you can get fast food. I'll say Mama's Fried Chicken, you know, she's on every corner. Kansas Fried Chicken, all those places, you know, food that'll kill you. But you can also search out Thai food, I'm sorry, North African food, which I love. I haven't been to a North African restaurant in a long time, but if you get a chance, definitely try it. Soul food, you know it. On 116th Street in Manhattan, you definitely can find a lot of places that sell the cucho frito, if I'm saying that right. And if you're Puerto Rican, Spanish, you know what I mean. There's West Indian restaurants, whatever kind of food you're looking for. Chinese restaurants, you can find food anywhere. Remember, you don't have to travel miles and miles. You have to travel miles, I should say, but you don't have to travel hours just to get the type of food that you may be looking for. And I think that's definitely a pro. Another pro about living here in New York is that you will never get bored. There are so many historical sites to see. We have the Statue of Liberty, we have Ellis Island, there's museums everywhere. MoMA's here, the Guggenheim. I mean, what other city in the United States has as many museums as we have? I mean, you know, we have Museum Mile, which I may be saying it wrong, but over on 5th Avenue, like maybe 110th on down, you have nothing but museums across from Central Park. You can just museum hop all day long if you like. I mean, we have the American Jewish Museum, you have the Museum of Sex here in New York, you have the Museum of Lower East Side, which I'm not sure what they may call that museum, but you know, it shows you how people in New York City lived in New York, I guess maybe in the turn of the century, well, 1900s. And that's a museum there, which I wanted to try to get to. And you had the Studio Museum in Harlem. I mean, we just have so many cultural things here in New York. You could never ever get bored. And then again, you have the train and the bus to take you wherever you want to go. We have Coney Island here. I remember years ago we used to have Rockaway Playland. I don't know what's going on with that, but you didn't have to leave the city to have fun, to go anywhere with your family, you know, and just be amused. Nowadays, most people probably go to what is that place? Oh, I haven't been there in years myself. Oh, Great Adventures. Yeah, Great Adventures. But if you just want to chill out for the day, sit on the boardwalk, definitely Coney Island is the spot. And like I said, as far as cultural events, you will never, I mean, sign up for any site that will let you know what's going on in the city. I'm telling you, you'll get rows and rows and rows of things to do here in New York City. Like my mother, she lives in North Carolina, and I was asking her about, well, if you want to go to the zoo, where she is, you know, she's on the eastern coast of North Carolina. So I'm like, where you live, you want to go to the zoo. Well, if you want to go to the zoo, you got to drive 2 hours. If you want to go to a museum, you got to drive another 2 hours. There's things to do here, but you got to drive. Here in New York, you just get on a train, you plan your day. I think every borough here has a children's museum. So there's the Children's Museum of Brooklyn, the Children's Museum of Manhattan, so forth and on and on and on. So you can always find a place to take your kids. We have the Circle Line. I don't know, recently I was watching a video by Chic 118, and she was down at the Seaport. So if you want to, you know, go to a restaurant and go shopping, because they have the stores down there, and sit at the pier and listen to music, you go down to the South Street Seaport. Like I said, there's just so much to do in New York City. You can never ever get bored, never. And I'm not a big partier. I never really was, but I used to hang out at the Paradise Garage. I don't know if any of you ever heard of the place, but it used to be spanking back in the day. I don't know what it is now, but that's another thing that's a pro for those people who like the nightlife. You will never ever get bored here in New York when you're talking about a party or doing something. We have parades. I mean, everybody has a parade. You know, this weekend, I believe, coming up. It should be the West Indian Day Parade, which is the largest parade in New York City. You know, I mean, you have different islanders coming, you know, Antigua, Trinidad, Jamaica, Haiti, whatever island you come from in the Caribbean will be represented at that parade. I haven't gone to that again in years, I'm telling you. Like I said, here in New York, there's just so much to do as far as anything you want to do. And if you live in the 5 boroughs and you want to travel out to Long Island to shop, you can do that, because most places are not that far away. When I lived in Queens, I lived in Laurelton, Queens, and we used to walk right over to Valley Stream, walk to Green Acres Mall, which is Long Island, and just shop. Now, where I live now, I don't know how close I may be to shopping, say, in Yonkers, or, you know, we'll say Westchester. So I don't know. I've been those places with someone who drove, but I don't know how to get there by bus and train. If I wanted to, I could. But who the hell wants to catch 2 buses to get someplace? That's the only thing I don't like about living in the Bronx. Like I said, if I was in Manhattan, I hop on the train, hop on the bus, and I'm there within like 20 minutes to shop. It'll cost me a lot of money jumping in a cab to get back home with all the packages, but sometimes it'll be worth it. Yeah. But, what else can I say about New York? I mean, New York to me is one of the places that is the 5 boroughs, I'll say. It is a small place in comparison to other places, but we're so compact that anything and everything that you're looking for, you definitely can find it here. You can sightsee all day. Like I said, the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building. They're building something now for the World Trade, you know, down by Ground Zero. They're going to be building something there which you'll be able to visit if you come to New York. You know, we have shopping like crazy. Of course, I cannot afford designer does, but you know, every major designer has a store here in New York. We're playing. So if you're into fashion, you're a fashionista for real, you'll definitely find it here. I mean, when it comes to New York, what can definitely, I mean, you can go to France to eat French food, but you can also find that here in New York too. New York, I just love this city. I will never leave this city. Now, real quick, I'm going to go through some cons. And there's more pros than that, but I figure those are the main things that people, you know, because I can name a whole lot of other things that are pros to living in New York City. But the cons of living here is that I can't even say that you don't have that country space, because that's not true, because you can go to a lot of parks we have here in New York. You know, Central Park we have. You have Woodlawn Cemetery, which is a place where people go. It's a cemetery, of course, but you can go and you can chill, relax, and, you know, sightsee and do all that too. So there's a lot of things here. The Bronx Zoo. I mean, you can definitely do a lot of outdoorsy things within our 5 boroughs. So now the cons for me that I find are cons are when the trains are not acting right and they're off schedule. I don't like that. But definitely crime here in New York, and I see for myself, if you live here in New York and you know, being is that unemployment is kind of high, it seems like I, you know, hear of a lot more criminal activity, which I don't like. Other than that, what else can I say is a con to living in New York? Sometimes the pace can be fast depending on where you are. And it's really not a bad thing, but I'll say it's a bad thing depending on how you may feel and how you may want to move around the world that day. And another con for me is that I feel since 9/11, we have to really be on alert, you know, as far as terrorist attacks. I really don't like that. I find that to be a con for me. A lot of people probably don't, but I feel that the city, you know, and what it means to the world, New York City, you know, financial district. I mean, just so much here in New York. I feel that people will probably always target New York, and as a New Yorker, that does frighten me. So that's the con I could think of. And if I really thought about it, I probably could think of other cons, but I really can't. I could think of so many more pros, but cons I really can't. I mean, because going back to the pros, I mean, schools here, New York City public schools in certain areas are the worst. They're closing schools, so they're not good. But as far as higher learning education, I mean, come on. We have Columbia University, New York University, Barnard College, Fordham University is here. Some of the city colleges, like City College, which you know is a pretty well-known school here in New York. The BMCC, the Borough of Manhattan Community College. I mean, you know, at one time during the 60s, there was a hotbed of civil rights activities and stuff going on at certain schools, so that made them kind of famous here in New York. You know, great reputation. Man, I can go on about my city. I'm trying to think of some cons before I end the video, but the only thing I can think of a con for me, like I said, is really just crime on the rise. Crime against women I don't like. Any crime, period. Hearing about shootings I don't like. And like I said, just what we have to go through to be aware of any terrorist attacks I don't like. And wow, I don't know, maybe one day I'll have to do another video, but right now I cannot think of another con for living here in New York City. I can't. So I'm going to leave the video now. I should just name this The Pros of Living in New York City, because I really can't think of another con. If you live in New York City and you can think of a con, then let me know, because I don't even want to leave this city. I want to die right here, not tomorrow, no time soon, but I want to die here. I mean, people come here. We have the theater. You can see Broadway plays. Man, oh man, oh man. I mean, so many times I've been on the train, and I've been on the train with celebrities, you know, people that you know because they've been on TV, and maybe they're appearing at the Beacon, so they're on a 2 train going 72nd Street. I've seen that so many times. I've seen a lot of starlets. You hear me, starlets? Who uses that word these days? A lot of celebrities. Like I said, I just love this city. So I'm going to end this video now, and I'll probably think of 20 more cons. Like I said, I was doing this on the top of my head. I love the fact that rap started here. Yeah, other people were taking it over, other little states taking it over, but rap started right here in the Bronx. I remember back in the day with the door knocking. Child, please, I can go on for days about how much I love my city. So I'm going to end this video now because I need to go wash my dishes because they're dirty. But I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I definitely want to thank the person who gave me the suggestion to do a pros and cons of living in New York. I really wish that I could think of more cons, because I know that there are some, but right now I can't think of many. Oh, I know a big con I don't like is stop and frisk. I have mixed feelings about stop and frisk, but that's a whole nother day, a whole nother video. Yeah. And some other little things going on with Mayor Bloomberg, you know, trying to get us to be the fittest city in the world. But they say we are rude. New Yorkers are rude. Yeah, they are. Yeah, but there's some of the nicest people in New York too. That same rude chick might be nice to somebody else when she asks, "Is this the train to go to Harlem?" Yeah, I tell you. But yeah, so thank you for stopping by and watching this video, for commenting, for subscribing. I can't say that enough. I wish I could say it in every video, because the Lord knows I do mean it. And I just want to say I hope I see you in the next video, which I have 4 more days to get through. And this video is much longer than I wanted it to be, but trust me, it could be a lot longer. As much as I love New York City. So listen, guys, you all just share and spread love. Whenever I go to her channel, she's always talking about something else.